Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is David Okon. Been talking about the cost of living today. I recorded my first poem regarding the conditions of the global economy, and also looking at poverty and wealth and different issues in society. I chose the title of my poem to represent the condition of world economies via the country of Great Britain. So the title of my poem is "Poverty in Britain," and keep an eye on that on that video and watch it and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm still writing the poetry, so you will be hearing more on this channel, me reading from my poem which I'm still writing. It is a draft, so going forward I will be rewriting the poetry. What I read may not be representative of the final product, but it is a few pages I'm only starting put it together, but I found it necessary to read it so that you hear and give me a feedback what you think about the poem talking about complicated topics to do consistent with the current topic I'm discussing of the cost of living crisis. But I'm not talking about the cost of living crisis directly, but I'm talking about poverty in Britain. And poverty in Britain being representative of what is global, looking at capitalism, looking at how capitalism is the force for growth and the force for trade industry, the force to support private businesses for free enterprise, and also an element, capitalism being a factor in globalization. All these topics I've been discussing throughout the year in the openings of my channel, YouTube channel. Thank you for to everyone who have subscribed to my channel so far, and also thank you for those who have been sharing, those who have been participating directly, actively or passively or indirectly. Thank you all. If you haven't watched my video previously or done anything at all, if you are watching this video, I'm so grateful to see you. I'm happy to see you in spirit participating in this platform. And for those who have never seen my video, I thank you in advance, because one way or the other, one of these days we will meet. You will see my channel, and I'll leave a comment below about what I'm trying to do today. This video is about the cost of living itself, which I've chosen to talk about. Talking about the cost of living as a factor of society, a factor of capitalism, and so on our path along discussing the cost of living crisis, which represents problem globally to do with the economy, public service, and versus the private sector. The public sector having been weakened in many ways, closed down in different countries. Globally is a trend which is actually affecting people who are in need of the government support in terms of employment and income, and in terms of other aspects of income coming from the state, also in terms of healthcare, healthcare and education and housing and all the other factors. We have discussed this over and again to the effect that we would be hoping people to know what the problem in their society, their respective society. Even in my poetry, when I speak about Great Britain, I'm talking about the globe, because you know what happens in one country happens in the other countries, especially with capitalism, especially with the economic and political system, because of harmonization, because of what globalization represents. So pay attention to when I talk about Britain or any other country. Today I will be speaking about China, which is actually China is a leading economy of the globe. And if you watch this video, watch it alongside the rest of the videos on China and on other areas, including different continents I have touched upon. I will not be talking about every country because I have a plan, and going forward I will be exploring different aspects of specific policies in specific countries. And if you want me to talk about your country in terms of the cost of living crisis, then let me know. Leave a comment below, and we are a growing channel. We are doing quite well, and thank you so much for everyone who has been supporting me in different ways. And let me talk about China. Talk about culture. This is a continuation of the other videos. We talk about culture in China, culture and society in China, and we are looking at the material to review, and also looking at their different institutions, cultural institutions like the Temple of Heaven, which is actually located at the center of heaven worship and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, symbolizes the interaction between heaven and mankind. This is some of the philosophical underpinning in China, in the Chinese cultural and societal infrastructuring and also systems as part of the country of China. What resources they possess, how these interact to form an economic base of the continent, of the country, and these infrastructures in cultural and social infrastructure in China is reminiscent of what you find in other countries. So other places like the Moon Gate in a Chinese garden, these are some locations they are found. And since the ancient times, Chinese culture has been heavily influenced by Confucianism. Chinese culture, in turn, has heavily influenced East Asia and Southeast Asia. For much of the countries, the dynastic era opportunities for social advancement could be provided by high performance in the prestigious imperial examination, which have their origins in the Han Dynasty. If you watch this video, watch it alongside the previous ones on China. They are connected. The literary emphasis of the exams affected by the general perception of cultural refinement in China, such as the belief in calligraphy, poetry, painting were forms of art than dancing or drama. Some of the materials you find, which we're reviewing to look at China, and therefore we have our stories where we look at culture as long emphasis as Chinese culture has long emphasized sense of deep history and a large inward-looking national perspective. Examination and the culture of merit remain greatly valued in China today. These are actually resources of a country. So the cost of living is a crisis for relevant purposes. It's related to resources, and wealth, and specifically with income. We have already discussed things to do with capitalism, which relate to every element of society, including culture and society. As we are looking at this material, counties like the Fengguang, an ancient town that harbors many architectural remains of Ming and Qing styles. China is very robust as a country, culturally and also socially, historically, and in many other other aspects. First leaders of the People's Republic of China were born into the traditional imperial order, but were influenced by the May 4th movement and reformist ideals. They sought to change some traditional aspects of the Chinese culture, such as rural land tenure, sexism, and the Confucian system of education, while preserving others, such as the family structure and culture of obedience to the state. Some observers see the period following the establishment of the PRC in 1949 as a continuation of traditional Chinese dynastic history, while others claim that the CCP's rule under Mao Zedong damages the foundations of Chinese culture, especially through political movements such as the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s, where many aspects of traditional culture were destroyed, having been denounced as regressive and harmful, or vestiges of feudalism. Many important aspects of traditional Chinese morals and culture, such as Confucianism, art, literature, and performing arts like Peking opera, were halted to conform to government policies and propagandas at that time. Access to foreign media remains heavily restricted. Some of the material to demonstrate the dynamism that China is. Nevertheless, these aspects, these scenery painted by this material of China is representative of not only China but also the globe. Like I said previously, in every country, the societies are harmonized. They are harmonizing factors of societies, economy, society, environment, political, you name them, legal. They are actually being harmonized. So what you find in one country is most likely to be similar or the same with the country wherever you are. So this material is relevant to you. Watch it if you value it. If you don't, no problem. Today, the Chinese government has accepted numerous elements of traditional Chinese culture as being integral to Chinese society. With the rise of Chinese nationalism and the end of the Cultural Revolution, various forms of traditional Chinese art, literature, music, film, fashion, and architecture have seen vigorous revival, and folk and variety art in particular have sparked interest nationally and even worldwide. Let us look at tourism in China, listing World Heritage sites in China. China received 65.7 million in inbound international visitors in 2019, and in 2018 was fourth most visited country in the world. It also experienced an enormous volume of domestic tourism. Chinese tourists made an estimated 6 billion travels within the country in 2019. China hosts the world's second largest number of World Heritage sites, 56 after Italy, and is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, first in the Asia Pacific. Look at literature in China. In Chinese literature, the stories in Journey to the West are common themes in Peking opera. Chinese literature is based on the literature of the Zhou dynasty. Concepts covered within the Chinese classic texts present a wide range of thoughts and subjects, including calendar, military, astrology, herbology, geography, and many others. Some of the most important early texts include the Wan Qing and the Shu Jing within the 4 books and 5 classics, which serve as the Confucian authoritative books for the state-sponsored curriculum in dynamic era. Inherited from the classic classics of poetry, classical Chinese poetry developed to its florid during the Tang dynasty. Li Bai and Du Fu opened the forking ways for the poetic circle through romanticism and realism, respectively. Chinese historiography began with the Shijie. The overall scope of the historiographical tradition in China is termed the 24 histories, which set a vast stage for Chinese fictions along with Chinese mythology and folklore. Pushed by the burgeoning citizen class in the Ming Dynasty, Chinese classical fiction rose to the boom of the historical town and goods and demon fictions as represented by the 4 great classical novels, which include Water Margin, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Journey to the West, and Dream of the Red Chamber. Along with the Wuxia fictions of Jing Yong and Liang Yusheng, it remains an enduring source of popular culture in the Chinese sphere of influence. You watch this video, watch with the rest of the other videos on China, and also on the cost of living generally, wherever it was stated on what platform. Just as by way of reminder, I'm actually writing a poetry now. I'm actually in the process of writing poetry, but at the same time I'm also reading what I am writing. I only started writing this poetry to illustrate conditions of societies generally, but focusing mainly on Great Britain. The title of the poem is actually, the working title of the poem is Poverty in Britain. If you watch one of my videos on poetry, watch it and leave a comment below, because it's a work in progress, but I choose to share the text, the material with you in this video to see the development, because I will be using my video also to improve on the written text, and vice versa. As I develop the written text, I in the process of videoing, also in the process of developing the poetry. So that's the approach I've decided to take. If you comment below and let me know, subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. Leave a comment below, support it in whatever way you can, and also share with family and friends. Click the notification bell and click like. Thank you so much for your help. In the wake of the new culture, we are going back to China. New culture movement after the end of the Qing dynasty. Chinese literature embarked on a new era with written vernacular Chinese for ordinary citizens. Wu Shi and Lu Zhong were pioneers in modern literature. So various literary genres such as mystery poetry, scar literature, young adult fiction, and the Zhonggan literature, which is influenced by magic realism, emerged following the Central Revolution. Mo Yan, a Zhonggan literature author, was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2012. Looking at the cuisine of China, these are actually common structures in countries in terms of presentation or representation of countries globally. What you read, what you hear, what you experience if you have been to China is similar, quite similar to what is being done, because we are becoming increasingly socially more scientific in our methods of structuring society and also processing different sectors of society. Chinese cuisine is highly diverse, drawing on the several millennia of culinary history and geographical variety, in which the most influential are known as the 8 major cuisines, including Sichuan, Cantonese, Jiangsu, Shandong, Fujian, Henan, and Anhui, and Zhejiang cuisines. These are Chinese properties in terms of cuisine, their culinary economy. Chinese cuisine is also known for its wide width of cooking methods and ingredients, as well as food therapy that is emphasized by traditional Chinese medicine. Generally, China's staple food is rice in the south, wheat-based breads, and noodles in the north. The diet of the common people in pre-modern times was largely grain and simple vegetables, with meat reserved for such special occasions. The bean products such as the tofu and the soy milk remain as a popular source of protein. Pork is now the most popular meat in China, accounting for about 3/4 of the country's total meat consumption. While pork dominates the meat market, there is also the vegetarian Buddhist cuisine and the pork-free Chinese Islamic cuisine. Southern cuisine, due to the area's proximity to the ocean and milder climate, has a wide variety of the seafood and vegetables. It differs in many respects from the wheat-based diets across dry northern China. Numerous offshoots of Chinese food, such as Hong Kong cuisine and American Chinese food have emerged in the nations that play host to the Chinese diaspora. Let's look at the architecture. Chinese architecture listing of World Heritage Site in China. Many architectural masters and masterpieces emerged in ancient China, creating many palaces, tombs, temples, gardens, houses, etc. The architecture of China is as whole as Chinese civilization. The first communities that can be identified culturally as Chinese were settled chiefly in the basin of the Yellow River. Chinese architecture is the embodiment of an architectural style that has developed over millennia in China and has remained a vestigial source of perennial influence on the development of East Asian architecture. Since its emergence during the early ancient era, the structural principles of its architecture have remained largely unchanged. And the main changes involve diverse decorative details. Starting with the Tang Dynasty, China architecture has had a major influence on the architectural style of neighboring East Asian countries such as Japan, Korea, and Mongolia. And minor influences on architecture of Southeast and South Asia, including the countries of Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Chinese architecture is characterized by a bilateral symmetry, use of enclosed open spaces, feng shui example, the directional hierarchies, horizontal emphasis, and allusion to various cosmological, mythological, or in general symbolic elements. Chinese architecture traditionally classifies structures according to type, ranging from pagodas to palaces. Chinese architecture varies widely based on status or affiliation, such as whether the structures were constructed for emperors or commoners or for religious purposes. It's a class system in China inbuilt in its society, its literature, and arts, and religion and faith, other variation. This is actually not far off comparable comparatively with other countries. What you find in China is more likely than not to be replicated in the rest of the world in the historical and the contemporary context. Other variations in Chinese architecture are shown in vernacular style associated with different geographic regions and ethnic and different ethnic heritages, such as the steel houses in the south, the Yaodong buildings in the northwest, the yacht buildings of nomadic people, the Xiyang buildings in the north. Let's look at music of China, C-pop and the Chinese opera. Chinese music covers a highly diverse range of music, from traditional music to modern music. Chinese music dates back before pre-imperial times. Traditional Chinese music instruments were traditionally grouped into 8 categories known as the Baiyan. Traditional Chinese opera is a form of musical theater in China originating thousands of years and has regional style forms such as Beijing opera and Cantonese opera. Chinese pop, C-pop, including Mandopop and Cantopop. So Chinese culturally as well as socially, perhaps also politically, industrially very adaptive. They are very dynamic as a country. China is very dynamic as a country. And Chinese rap, Chinese hip hop, Chinese Hong Kong hip hop have become popular in contemporary times. So cinema of China. Cinema was first introduced to China in 1896, and the first Chinese film, Dingguing Mountain, was released in 1905. China has the largest number of movie screens in the world. Since 2016, China became the largest cinema market in the world in 2020. Impressive. The top 3 highest grossing films in China as of 2023 were The Battle of Lake Changjin 2021, Wolf Warrior 2 2017, and The He Mon 2021. Looking at fashion, Chinese clothing and Anfu. Anfu is the historical clothing of the Han people in China. The Gipao or Xiongsham is a popular Chinese female dress. The Anfu movement has been popular in contemporary times and seeks to revitalize Anfu clothing. Look at sports in China. Sport at the Olympics and China at the Paralympics. Go is an abstract strategy board game for 2 players in which the aim is to surround more territory than the opponent, and which was invented in China more than 2,500 years ago. China has one of the oldest sporting cultures in the world. There is evidence that archery Zhejiang was practiced during the Western Zhou dynasty. Swordplay and Suzhou, a sport loosely related to association football, date back to China's early dynasty as well. Physical fitness is widely emphasized in Chinese culture, with morning exercises such as Qi Gong and Tai Chi widely practiced, and commercial gyms and private fitness clubs are gaining popularity across the country. Basketball is currently the most popular spectator sport in China. The Chinese Basketball Association and the American National Basketball Association also have a huge national following amongst the Chinese populace, with native-born and NBA bound Chinese players and well-known national household names such as the Yao Ming and the Yi Jianliang being held in high esteem among Chinese basketball fans. China's professional football league, are now known as Chinese Super League, was established in 1994. It is the largest football market in East Asia. Other popular sports in the country include martial arts, table tennis, badminton, swimming, and snooker. Board games such as Go, known as Weigi in Chinese, Xiangqi, Mahjong, and more recently chess, are also played at a professional level. In addition, China is home to a huge number of cyclists, with an estimated 470 million bicycles as of 2012. Many more traditional sports such as dragon boat racing, Mongolian style wrestling, and horse racing are also popular. China has participated in the Olympic Games since 1939, although it has only participated as the PRC since 1952. China hosted the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, where its athletes received 48 gold medals, the highest number of gold medals of any participating nation that year. China also won the most medals of any nation at the 2012 Summer Paralympics, with 231 overall, including 95 gold medals. In 2011, the Shenzhen in Guangdong, China, hosted the 2011 Summer Universiade. China hosted the 2013 East Asian Games in Tianjin and the 2014 Summer Youth Olympics in Nanjing, the first country to host both regular and youth Olympics. Beijing and nearby city Zhangjiakou of Hebei province collaboratively hosted the 2022 Winter Olympics, making Beijing the first dual Olympic city in the world by hosting both the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics. So we have seen the country of China in its essence, the founding of the country, its development in the past, into the history. We will look at its development, we will look at its cultures, we will look at its potential, the wealth, and the advent of capitalism. My major interest in this exercise is to actually monitor capitalistic development across the globe in any country. So what you see in China in terms of capitalism, if you watch the rest of the video, to link it with this video, you will find that capitalism is now capturing Chinese society, and the public sector, when capitalism is actually extremitized, if I may say so, then you will find that the public sector begin to lack, and the public services begin to reduce or even disappear. When that happens, the people who need help from the government will fail to get help the majority of the population work for living. This has been my central theme of discussion, and my intention is to get people to really understand their position, and also it is our responsibility to understand how the world works. And my purpose to go through this process is so that we develop our understanding of our politics, policies, laws, the economy, and all the other factors of society, the dynamics, of society, how they operate. So this exercise has been really useful for me, and I hope has also been useful for you if you have been watching all my videos or some of it. Whatever you watch in one video is most likely to be similar or the same, because the principle of my approaching this exercise is the same. I want us to understand our economy and the politics, including policy and in many ways laws, how this operates to affect how we live, including how these affect the cost of living crisis. The cost of living crisis, like I said, is a symptom, and we should take it with a pinch of salt. That the cost of living is an end in itself. It is created by other factors, other issues in the economy in terms of development and culture. I have actually illustrated this. If you watch the rest of the video and connect to this, then you will know the logic surrounding this exercise. We have come to the end of looking at China for now, and if there is any need, then somebody maybe leave a comment below for us to talk in more specific about a topic in China or anywhere else. Let me know so that I can do a research in that particular area and we talk particularly. So far I've been talking about countries generally, about continents, about places like Europe, the European Union, the United Nations. All these factors are in my video on my channel. They may not be the base of materials, but the central theme I'm developing with this exercise is extremely important for everyone. It's not for me to really tell everybody what is important and what's not important, but it's my responsibility, moral obligation to share with the world what my understanding entails in relation to what happens in society. And the cost of living is a sign that things are changing generally. If we can focus on the cost of living and forget about the rest of the world. But this is what I'm trying to avoid, and that's what I'm trying to encourage you to avoid. Focus on the cost of living, because we had COVID-19, we had the 2007 and 8 financial crisis, global financial crisis. All these are actually symptoms. The real problem is actually capitalism, which is getting extreme. And when you go to the hospital now in your country, you will discover that things are changing for the worse. If you don't have money, especially if you're in Africa, because in Africa in the past we had the public sector strengthened to provide healthcare, education, to support farmers, small and medium farmers to produce food. This is no longer the case because African governments are now privatizing the economy. They have sold off the country. Privatization is good in terms of producing wealth for those who have money and wealth. It could have been good to provide wealth and access to resources for everyone, such that right now there would not have been a situation of a situation in society where the cost of living occurs. And the cost of living is caused by poverty. Poverty, even in rich, wealthy countries like China, there's poverty there. It should be there. It's there because of capitalism. So what the government needs to do now is to strengthen the public sector, to provide public service, so that it takes some of the wealth away from the super rich who do not even need, who do not even use, who actually throw the wealth away, wasting this wealth. And it is very destructive, it's very violent. This should stop. This injustice should stop. This form of violence, the war is over. You see, a lot of people historically have used wealth as a weapon of war. This has to stop because we are beginning to rebuild our worlds toward, peaceful coexistence. This can never happen if the wealthy hold wealth and deliberately preventing the poor, the majority, from accessing wealth. A form of selfishness, a form of violence. Because you see, if you you buy the country through the government, through the state, 10 or 15% of the population buying everything. When we talk of privatization, we think it is some movie, some Hollywood, some beautiful thing. It is Nazi. Because these people buy of the world, the entire world. They are literally buying the house, everything belonging to them. And you who do not own anything, literally you're left with nothing, because these people don't give anything to anybody. They're extremely selfish. They live in their own world. They have created a world, a parallel world, and they are lost in their own world, in their own life. It is actually the government which should tell the super rich, that there are actually people out there who are lacking. These super rich do not know what is happening. They think the world is the same as theirs. It is the responsibility of the government to remind them gently that life is not the way you think. The rest of the world is not rich. And you have taken all their wealth. You have taken their lands. You have taken their country. They have nothing. They cannot access healthcare. They cannot access food. They cannot access public transport. They cannot go take their children to school. They cannot participate in technology, science, engineering. They are excluded. This the government should explain, but the government now have turned its back on the people of the world. Whether in China, whether in other parts of the world, they are now colluding with the super rich to exclude. This is wickedness. It's a form of violence. It has to stop. The right individuals should take over power. Not everybody is with evil, but there are a few evil who are extremely powerful. These people should be overthrown by the government. The government should take them out if they cannot live peacefully with the world, because they have taken all the wealth and they are hoarding this wealth. The wealth is rotting while other people are excluded from healthcare because there is no money. The government doesn't have money because the private super rich multimillionaires have taken all the wealth. The government is an empty shell across the globe, and that is what capitalism has become. That's what privatization has produced. It has become violent. It has been weaponized because our culture is broken. We need to re-examine our cultural economy and focus on humanity, begin to value humanity. Now, we only think of money. We live in a society, if you don't have money, you are nothing. You are not even, a pile of rubbish is more important because somebody can burn it and warm themselves. All humans are becoming worthless unless you have money. That is wrong because it's actually a form of violence produced by ignorance. The rich cannot survive it. The rich, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are, if you value your wealth more than your life because you are human, philosophically and actually in terms of principle and value, you need to actually achieve enlightenment. Rich people in power should learn how to value humanity, starting with, because see, some of these wealthy people do no longer value themselves. If they lose their wealth, they commit suicide. Some of them commit suicide in order to protect their wealth. This is insanity. This is actually a form of psychopathy. It has to stop. These multimillionaires and multi-billionaires no longer value their lives. They only think of money. This is madness. And the poor are the same. We value the rich because of their money, because of their wealth. We love them because we love their money. If they become poor, we abandon them. We don't even follow them anymore. We run after rich people because of their wealth. There is nothing wrong with wealth, but we need to start valuing humanity. Whether you're poor, whether you're rich, because we are humans. The moment we stop valuing humanity, we will go extinct. Thank you so much for taking your time. If you've watched this far, leave a comment below. I'll share your view, whether you are many, whether you are few. We are happy and we are doing very well. We're making progress. And subscribe to these channels. Subscribe to this channel and share the videos with family and friends. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.